High above the surface of Earth, where the sky fades into infinite black and the planet curves gently beneath drifting clouds, a small metal structure circles the globe at breathtaking speed. Every 90 minutes, it completes one full orbit. From this fragile outpost, astronauts witness 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets each day. This is the International Space Station, humanity's most advanced laboratory, and inside it, life unfolds in a way no human evolved to experience. The moment an astronaut arrives at the International Space Station, everything they have ever known about daily life changes. Gravity, the silent force that shapes every movement on Earth, disappears. There's no up or down, no floor beneath the feet, no ceiling above the head. The body floats freely, obeying entirely different rules. Even the simplest actions, like pushing off a wall or turning the head too quickly, can send a person drifting uncontrollably through the module. Zero gravity is not simply the absence of weight. It is a constant state of free fall. The station itself is falling toward Earth, but its sideways speed is so great that it continually misses the planet. Inside this falling laboratory, astronauts float as if gravity no longer exists. This environment creates both wonder and challenge, beauty and discomfort, fascination and risk. On Earth, daily routines are shaped by gravity without us ever noticing. We wake up, stand up, walk, sit, eat, sleep, shower, and rest, all while gravity keeps our bodies anchored. In space, every one of these actions must be reinvented. Astronauts must relearn how to live from the most basic level, from how to move to how to keep their bodies healthy. The first sensation many astronauts describe is disorientation. The inner ear, which evolved to sense gravity and balance, becomes confused. There is no clear reference point for direction. Astronauts may feel like they are upside down even when orientation has no meaning. Some experience space motion sickness, nausea, headaches, and dizziness during the first few days as the brain struggles to adapt. Movement inside the station is controlled and deliberate. Astronauts do not walk. Instead, they glide. A gentle push with a fingertip can send them floating across a module. Handrails line the walls, ceilings, and floors, though those terms lose meaning in microgravity. Every surface is potentially a pathway. Astronauts quickly learn to grab and release with precision, conserving energy and avoiding collisions with equipment or fellow crew members. Learning to stop is just as important as learning to move. Without friction or gravity, once the body is in motion, it stays in motion. Astronauts must plan every movement, using walls, rails, or foot restraints to anchor themselves. A careless push can result in spinning slowly, requiring calm control to regain stability. Even personal orientation becomes flexible. Astronauts can work upside down relative to one another, holding conversations while facing opposite directions. The brain adapts, redefining what feels normal. Over time, the absence of gravity becomes natural, and astronauts often report feeling disappointed when they return to Earth's heavy pull. Daily life aboard the station follows a strict schedule, coordinated down to the minute by mission control. Every hour is planned, from scientific experiments to exercise, maintenance, meals, communication with Earth, and rest. Structure is essential because without gravity, time and routine become anchors for the mind. One of the first lessons astronauts learn is how to secure everything. In microgravity, objects do not stay where they are placed. A pen released from the hand will float away silently, potentially drifting into vents or sensitive equipment. Velcro becomes an essential tool. Almost everything is attached using Velcro strips, elastic cords, or clips. Tools, tablets, notebooks, and even food packets must be secured. At all times, clothing also behaves differently in space. Without gravity pulling fabric downward, clothes float slightly around the body, giving astronauts a constant sensation of wearing loose garments. Laundry is not possible on the station. Clothes are worn for days or even weeks then sealed, and eventually disposed of in cargo vehicles that burn up in Earth's atmosphere. The concept of falling no longer exists, but danger remains ever present. A simple mistake, like letting go of a tool during a spacewalk or failing to secure oneself properly, can have serious consequences. Inside the station, safety depends on discipline, awareness, and teamwork. Windows aboard the station offer moments of quiet reflection. Astronauts often pause to gaze at Earth below, watching storms swirl over oceans, city lights glow at night, and continents drift past in silence. From this vantage point, borders disappear. The planet looks fragile, unified, and alive. Many astronauts describe this view as life-changing, altering their understanding of humanity's place in the universe. The psychological impact of living in zero gravity is profound. Isolation, confinement, and distance from Earth challenge even the most resilient individuals. Astronauts are separated from family, friends, and familiar environments for months at a time. Communication delays are short, but the physical separation is absolute. There's no quick return home. Despite these challenges, astronauts form strong bonds. Living and working together in such an extreme environment fosters deep trust and cooperation. Every crew member depends on the others for safety and success. Cultural differences fade as survival and science become shared goals. Life in zero gravity is not a vacation or a novelty. It is a demanding existence that pushes the human body and mind to their limits. Yet it is also a glimpse into the future. The lessons learned aboard the International Space Station shape humanity's ambitions to return to the moon, travel to Mars, and explore deeper into space. This floating laboratory is not just a place of experiments. It is a test of human adaptability. Every meal eaten, every task completed, and every night spent drifting in a sleeping bag is part of an ongoing experiment in survival beyond Earth. And this is only the beginning. To truly understand life in zero gravity, we must look deeper into the rhythms of a typical day, the science behind survival, the struggle of the human body, and the ingenuity required to live where gravity no longer rules. On Earth, eating is effortless. Food stays on the plate. Liquids remain in cups. Crumbs fall downward and disappear from concern. In orbit, none of these assumptions apply. In the weightless environment of the International Space Station, even the simple act of eating becomes a carefully controlled operation, shaped by physics, engineering, and discipline. Food aboard the station is designed not for luxury, but for survival, safety, and nutrition. Astronauts cannot rely on gravity to keep meals in place. A floating crumb can become a serious hazard, capable of entering air filters, electronic equipment, or even allow astronauts' eyes or lungs. Because of this, all food must be contained, structured, and consumed with precision. Most meals are pre-packaged, sealed in vacuum-tight pouches. Some foods are dehydrated to reduce weight and prevent spoilage. Before eating, astronauts inject hot or cold water into the package, rehydrating the meal. The pouch is then opened carefully, and the food is eaten using a spoon that is often attached with Velcro to prevent it from drifting away. There are no open plates, bowls, or loose utensils. Everything is either tethered or anchored to a surface. Even the dining table is simply a flat panel with Velcro strips. Astronauts attach their food packets directly to it. Eating becomes a slow, focused task rather than a casual experience. Drinking presents its own challenges. Liquids in microgravity form floating spheres, clinging together due to surface tension. A free-floating droplet can drift unpredictably, posing risks to equipment and people. To prevent this, drinks are stored in sealed bags with built-in straws. The straw has a clamp to stop liquid from escaping when not in use. Astronauts learn to control the flow of liquids carefully, sipping rather than gulping. Swallowing itself feels different in zero gravity. On Earth, gravity helps guide food and liquid down the throat. In space, the muscles of the throat must work harder to move food internally. The body adapts, but the sensation remains unusual, especially during the first weeks. Taste also changes in orbit. Many astronauts report that their sense of taste becomes dulled. In microgravity, bodily fluids shift upward toward the head, causing nasal congestion similar to a constant mild cold. This affects smell, which in turn reduces the perception of flavor. As a result, astronauts often crave spicy or strongly flavored foods. Hot sauce, chili paste, and mustard become popular additions to meals. Despite the challenges, mealtime is one of the most important social moments aboard the station. Crew members often gather to eat together, floating around a shared table, anchoring their feet under straps, or hooking their legs around handrails. These moments offer a sense of normalcy and connection, breaking the isolation of life in orbit. Food is not only fuel, it is comfort, memory, and culture. Astronauts are allowed to bring a small selection of personal food items from their home countries, as long as they meet safety requirements. These familiar tastes can provide emotional support during long missions far from Earth. Nutrition is carefully monitored. In zero gravity, the human body undergoes significant changes. Bones lose density, muscles weaken, and fluids redistribute. Diets are designed to provide sufficient calories, protein, vitamins, and minerals to slow these effects. Calcium and vitamin D intake are especially important to protect bone health. The digestive system itself functions normally in space, but without gravity, gas behaves differently. This can cause discomfort, bloating, and unusual sensations. Even burping feels different, as gas and liquid are no longer separated by gravity. Astronauts must adjust and adapt to these changes with patience and humor. Waste management is another critical aspect of daily life. Toilets in space are feats of engineering designed to work without gravity. Instead of relying on water and gravity, they use airflow to guide waste away from the body. A gentle vacuum pulls solid and liquid waste into separate compartments. Using the space toilet requires training. Astronauts must position themselves carefully, using foot restraints and handholds to stay aligned. Small cameras assist with proper positioning, ensuring hygiene and efficiency. The process is functional but far from comfortable, reminding astronauts that even the most basic human needs require innovation in orbit. Liquid waste is not discarded. Urine is collected and processed through a complex filtration system that recycles it into clean drinking water. This closed-loop system is essential for long-duration missions. Every drop counts in space. The water recycled from urine, sweat, and humidity becomes indistinguishable from fresh water and is perfectly safe to drink. This constant recycling reinforces an awareness of resource limits. Astronauts become acutely conscious of consumption, waste, and efficiency. Life aboard the station operates as a miniature model of sustainability, where nothing can be wasted and everything has value. Hygiene without gravity presents its own challenges. There are no showers aboard the station. Astronauts clean themselves using wet wipes, no-rinse shampoo, and towels. Water must be used sparingly and carefully, as free-floating droplets are dangerous. Washing becomes a controlled, methodical process. Even brushing teeth requires caution. Astronauts use a small amount of water, swallowing the toothpaste foam rather than spitting it out, because there is nowhere for spit to go. Every action is adapted to the environment. These daily routines may seem mundane, but in space, they are acts of survival. Each meal, sip of water, and hygiene task represents a triumph of engineering over nature. Humans were not meant to live in zero gravity, yet aboard the International Space Station, they do so every day. Life in orbit strips existence down to its essentials: food, water, air, and discipline. There is no room for waste, carelessness, or assumption. The station becomes a living organism, sustained by constant attention and cooperation. As the crew finishes their meals and secures every packet, spoon, and straw, the day continues. Science waits. Experiments demand precision, and the human body, floating in silence, continues its quiet struggle to adapt to a world without gravity. On Earth, sleep is guided by gravity, darkness, and the steady rhythm of night and day. The body sinks into a bed, muscles relax under their own weight, and the planet's rotation quietly shapes circadian rhythms. On the International Space Station, none of these familiar cues exist. Sleep in orbit is not simply rest. It is an ongoing challenge that tests the limits of human adaptation. Astronauts do not sleep in beds. There is no need for mattresses or pillows in a weightless environment. Instead, each crew member has a small personal sleeping compartment, roughly the size of a telephone booth. Inside, a sleeping bag is attached to the wall. Astronauts zip themselves inside to prevent drifting while asleep. Without this restraint, even the gentle movement of air circulation could send a sleeping body floating through the station. In zero gravity, the body does not experience pressure points. There is no weight pressing down on muscles or joints. Some astronauts describe the sensation as floating inside their own body, as if their spine gently stretches and their limbs hover in perfect balance. This can feel comfortable, even blissful, but it also disrupts the brain's expectations of sleep. Without gravity, the body's sense of orientation becomes irrelevant. Astronauts can sleep vertically, horizontally, or upside down without noticing the difference. The brain slowly learns to let go of directional awareness. Dreams still occur, but many astronauts report vivid or unusual dreams during their first weeks in orbit, possibly linked to stress, sensory changes, or disrupted sleep cycles. Time behaves strangely aboard the station. The International Space Station orbits Earth approximately every 90 minutes. This means astronauts witness sunrise and sunset 16 times a day. Without careful planning, the constant cycle of light and darkness would wreak havoc on sleep patterns. To prevent this, the station operates on a strict schedule based on coordinated universal time. Lights inside the station are carefully controlled. Special lighting systems simulate the natural progression of daylight, shifting in color and intensity to signal wake-up and bedtime. Bright, blue-tone light helps astronauts stay alert during work hours, while warmer, dimmer light encourages relaxation before sleep. Even with these systems, sleep deprivation is a persistent issue. Many astronauts struggle to get enough rest. Noise from fans, pumps, and life support systems creates a constant background hum. The station is never truly quiet. Ventilation is essential to prevent carbon dioxide buildup around the face, so air is always moving. Carbon dioxide behaves differently in microgravity. On Earth, heavier carbon dioxide sinks, but in space, it can form pockets around the head. Without proper airflow, astronauts could rebreathe their own exhaled air. Fans prevent this, but their noise adds to the challenge of sleep. Physical discomfort can also interfere with rest. In zero gravity, bodily fluids shift toward the head, causing facial puffiness and nasal congestion. This pressure can make breathing feel different and contribute to headaches. Some astronauts experience a sensation similar to having a constant mild cold. To cope, astronauts use sleep masks, earplugs, and personal routines. Many listen to music, read messages from home, or follow relaxation techniques before sleeping. Maintaining mental well-being is as important as physical health in orbit. Exercise plays a critical role in sleep quality. Without gravity, muscles and bones no longer bear weight, leading to rapid weakening. Astronauts must exercise for about 2 hours every day to maintain strength and bone density. This physical exertion also helps regulate sleep, providing the body with familiar signals of fatigue. Despite these efforts, some astronauts rely on sleep medications during parts of their mission. The use is carefully monitored as alertness and performance are vital for safety. Fatigue in space can be dangerous, increasing the risk of mistakes during complex tasks. Rest in space is not just about sleep. Mental downtime is equally important. Astronauts are given scheduled periods for personal time. They may watch movies, listen to music, read books, or gaze out the station's windows. Looking at Earth can be calming, offering perspective and emotional grounding. The view of Earth at night is especially powerful. City lights trace the outlines of continents. Lightning storms flash silently within clouds. The thin blue line of Earth's atmosphere glows against the darkness of space. Many astronauts describe these moments as deeply emotional, reminding them of home and humanity's shared existence. Isolation is an unavoidable aspect of life aboard the station. Although communication with Earth is frequent, the psychological distance remains. Astronauts are separated from their families by hundreds of kilometers of empty space. They cannot touch, hug, or physically interact with loved ones. This separation can be especially difficult during long missions. To support mental health, astronauts maintain regular communication with psychologists on Earth. Private conversations allow them to discuss stress, concerns, and emotional challenges. Crew cohesion is also carefully managed. Conflict in such a confined environment can have serious consequences, so teamwork and emotional intelligence are essential. Sleep, time, and mental balance are tightly connected in orbit. A disrupted sleep cycle can affect mood, concentration, and performance. In an environment where every action matters, maintaining psychological stability is a matter of safety. Yet over time, the human body and mind adapt. Astronauts develop new rhythms. The strange becomes familiar. Floating becomes normal. Sleep improves as the brain accepts a new version of reality. And when astronauts wake up, unzipping their sleeping bags and gently pushing themselves into the day, the work continues. Science awaits. Experiments demand attention. The station hums with life, suspended between Earth and the cosmos. The human body is a product of Earth. Every bone, muscle, and organ evolved under the constant pull of gravity. When that force disappears, the body does not simply remain unchanged. It begins to transform. Life aboard the International Space Station is, in many ways, an ongoing experiment in human physiology, revealing how deeply gravity shapes who we are. One of the most immediate changes astronauts experience is fluid redistribution. On Earth, gravity pulls blood and other fluids toward the lower body. In orbit, that pull vanishes. Fluids shift upward toward the chest and head. Faces appear puffy, nasal passages swell, and legs become thinner, a condition astronauts often call bird legs. This shift affects not only appearance, but also circulation and pressure inside the body. The heart, relieved of the need to pump blood upward against gravity, gradually weakens. Over time, it becomes more efficient in a weightless environment, but less capable of handling Earth's gravity upon return. This is one reason astronauts can feel dizzy or faint when they come back home. Their cardiovascular systems must relearn how to work under weight. Bones suffer greatly in microgravity. On Earth, bones constantly rebuild themselves in response to stress and load. Walking, standing, and even sitting apply pressure that keeps bones strong. In space, that stress disappears. The body begins to break down bone tissue faster than it can rebuild it. Astronauts can lose up to 1% of their bone density per month in orbit, a rate far greater than that experienced by elderly people with osteoporosis. Muscles weaken for similar reasons. Without gravity, muscles are no longer required to support body weight. The muscles of the legs, back, and neck are especially affected. Even the act of standing, which uses many stabilizing muscles on Earth, becomes irrelevant in space. Without intervention, astronauts would return to Earth unable to walk properly. To fight this decline, exercise becomes a central part of daily life. Astronauts dedicate around 2 hours every day to physical training. The station is equipped with specialized exercise devices designed to simulate the effects of gravity. One machine uses vacuum cylinders to create resistance, allowing astronauts to perform squats, deadlifts, and presses. Another allows running while strapped down with harnesses that pull the body toward a treadmill surface. Exercise in space is physically demanding and mentally exhausting. The harnesses can be uncomfortable, digging into shoulders and hips to keep astronauts anchored. Sweat does not drip away as it does on Earth. Instead, it forms droplets that cling to the skin, requiring constant wiping. Despite these challenges, exercise is non-negotiable. It is essential for survival. The spine also behaves differently in zero gravity. Without gravity compressing the spinal column, the vertebrae separate slightly. Astronauts can grow several centimeters taller during their mission. This stretching can cause back discomfort and increase the risk of injury. Upon return to Earth, the spine compresses again and height returns to normal. Vision changes have become a significant concern in long-duration spaceflight. Many astronauts experience blurred vision during or after their missions. This condition, linked to fluid shifts and increased pressure inside the skull, can flatten the back of the eyeball and alter eyesight. Researchers continue to study this phenomenon to protect future astronauts on longer missions. The immune system also changes in space. Microgravity, stress, and radiation exposure can weaken immune responses, making astronauts more susceptible to infections. Even dormant viruses, such as those causing cold sores or chickenpox, can reactivate. This makes health monitoring and hygiene even more critical. Radiation is one of the most invisible and dangerous threats aboard the station. Earth's atmosphere and magnetic field shield us from most cosmic radiation. In orbit, that protection is reduced. Astronauts are exposed to higher levels of radiation from the sun and deep space. Over time, this exposure increases the risk of cancer and other health issues. The station is designed with shielding to reduce radiation exposure, but cannot eliminate it entirely. During solar storms, astronauts may be instructed to move to more protected areas of the station. Monitoring radiation levels is a constant concern for mission planners. Despite these risks, the human body shows remarkable adaptability. Over weeks and months, astronauts adjust to their new environment. Movements become fluid and efficient. Muscles learn new ways to function. The brain recalibrates its sense of balance and motion. However, this adaptation comes at a cost. The longer humans stay in space, the more difficult it becomes. To return to Earth, rehabilitation after a mission can take months. Astronauts must undergo intensive physical therapy to rebuild muscle strength, bone density, and balance. Life in zero gravity reveals both the fragility and resilience of the human body. It shows how tightly we are bound to our home planet and how much effort it takes to break free from that bond, even temporarily. The International Space Station is not just a laboratory for physics and chemistry. It is a testing ground for the future of human exploration. Every ache, every muscle loss, and every physiological change provides data that will shape missions to the Moon, Mars, and beyond. As astronauts finish their exercise sessions and wipe sweat from their floating faces, they return to their workstations. Experiments continue. Maintenance tasks await. And outside the station's walls, Earth glides silently below, a reminder of the gravity that once shaped every heartbeat. Life aboard the International Space Station is not defined only by survival. It is defined by purpose. Every day in orbit is carefully structured around work that pushes the boundaries of human knowledge. In the silence of space, astronauts become scientists, engineers, mechanics, observers, and pioneers all at once. The station functions as a floating laboratory, hosting hundreds of experiments at any given time. These experiments study physics, biology, medicine, materials science, and the behavior of fluids and flames in microgravity. Without gravity, fluids form perfect spheres, flames burn differently, and cells grow in unexpected ways. Phenomena that are impossible to isolate on Earth become clear in orbit. Astronauts spend hours each day conducting experiments designed by researchers from around the world. Some experiments investigate how human cells change in space, offering insights into aging, muscle loss, and disease. Others test new materials that could be used in spacecraft or on Earth. Even simple tasks, like growing plants, become scientific investigations, revealing how life responds when gravity is removed from the equation. Working in zero gravity requires precision and patience. Tools float away if not secured. Experiments must be assembled and operated while the body is restrained. Astronauts anchor their feet in loops or straps, stabilizing themselves as they work with both hands. Every movement must be controlled, every object accounted for. Maintenance is a constant responsibility. The station is a complex machine that must function flawlessly to keep its crew alive. Air, water, power, temperature, and pressure are all carefully regulated. Filters must be cleaned, equipment repaired, software updated, and systems tested. A single failure, if left unaddressed, could become life-threatening. One of the most dangerous and demanding tasks astronauts perform is the spacewalk, known as an extravehicular activity. To prepare, astronauts spend hours inside an airlock, breathing pure oxygen to remove nitrogen from their bodies. This prevents decompression sickness when they enter the vacuum of space. Stepping outside the station is unlike anything on Earth. The suit becomes a personal spacecraft, providing oxygen, temperature control, communication, and protection. Movement is slow and deliberate. Every action requires planning, strength, and focus. There is no room for error. Outside, the universe feels vast and unforgiving. Earth fills half the sky, glowing blue and white below. The blackness of space stretches endlessly in every other direction. There is no sound, no air, no margin for mistake. Yet astronauts often describe spacewalks as among the most profound experiences of their lives. During these excursions, astronauts repair equipment, install new modules, and upgrade the station systems. Their gloved hands work with tools designed for precision, even as their bodies are held in place by tethers and handrails. Each movement is the result of years of training and preparation. Inside the station, work continues relentlessly. Data is collected, samples are stored, and results are transmitted to Earth. Scientists on the ground analyze the findings, advancing knowledge that benefits life on Earth. Medical discoveries, improved materials, and technological innovations often trace their origins back to experiments conducted in orbit. Yet beyond the science and engineering, life on the station carries a deeper meaning. Living in zero gravity strips humanity of familiar comforts and forces a confrontation with fundamental questions. What does it mean to live when the rules of nature change? How adaptable are we? How fragile is life beyond our planet? Astronauts often speak of a shift in perspective known as the overview effect. Seeing Earth from space transforms how they think about humanity. The planet appears small, delicate, and interconnected. There are no visible borders, no divisions, only a shared home drifting through darkness. This realization leaves a lasting impression, one that many astronauts carry with them for the rest of their lives. Life in orbit teaches humility. The station exists only through constant cooperation between nations, agencies, and individuals. Survival depends on trust, discipline, and collaboration. Political differences fade when faced with the reality of space, where failure affects everyone equally. As missions come to an end, astronauts prepare to return home. Leaving the station can be bittersweet. The weightless freedom they have adapted to will soon be replaced by gravity's relentless pull. The body will struggle. Muscles will ache. Balance will be lost and slowly regained. Re-entry into Earth's atmosphere is violent and unforgiving. The capsule heats, shakes, and roars as it descends. Gravity returns suddenly, pressing down on bodies that have forgotten its weight. For many astronauts, this moment is overwhelming, both physically and emotionally. Back on Earth, recovery begins. Months of rehabilitation restore strength and coordination. Life slowly returns to normal. Yet something remains changed. Those who have lived in zero gravity carry a deeper awareness of Earth's value and vulnerability. The International Space Station is more than a machine. It is a symbol of what humanity can achieve when curiosity outweighs fear. It is a bridge between Earth and the cosmos, a proving ground for future explorers who will venture farther than ever before. Life in zero gravity reveals the limits of the human body, but also the power of human ingenuity. It shows that with knowledge, cooperation, and determination, humans can survive even in the most hostile environments. As the station continues its endless orbit, drifting silently above the world, it carries with it a message. Humanity is not confined to the ground beneath its feet. We are explorers by nature, capable of adapting, learning, and reaching beyond the familiar. In the quiet hum of the International Space Station, suspended between Earth and infinity, daily life unfolds not as science fiction, but as reality. A fragile, remarkable testament to humanity's desire to understand the universe and to find its place within it.